Alright, so in this lecture, we're going to mount the motors to the frame arms. We're going to start soldering the ESCs to the power distribution board, and we're also going to start building the frame of the drone. So first off, you're going to start by taking out the 2 red and 2 white arms out of your frame kit, and you're going to want to get your 4 motors. And make sure to follow the general motor configuration for clockwise and counterclockwise. So the motors with the white caps run clockwise and the motors with the black caps run counterclockwise. So basically, one red arm should have a white motor cap, one red arm should have a black motor cap, one white arm should have a white colored cap, and one white arm should have a black colored motor cap. So you're going to attach your motors to your frame arms as shown. And for this, you're going to want to use your wrench kit that you got. We're going to be using the 8mm 50 pieces M3 hex nuts to mount the motors. Your kit should have came with a wrench. You can use this to mount the screws into the motor. I'm using a Tuto3 2mm hex screwdriver instead because I think it's easier. So to mount the motors to the arms, you're going to want to make sure the wires coming out of the motor are directed towards the center of the drone. So make sure they're running parallel to the arms. And you're going to match up the holes and then take your screw and just screw it in from the bottom up. And then you're going to do this 4 times for each of the screws and then another 4 times for each of the arms. Now that we have our motors mounted to our arms, we're going to start soldering onto our power distribution board. So for this, you're going to want to grab your solder and your soldering iron, and you're also going to want to grab the distribution board. So if you notice, the distribution board is going to have a positive and negative terminal. You're also going to want to grab your ESCs. You're also going to notice that the ESC has a red and black wire on the other side. Red correlates to positive and black correlates with negative. The ESC also has a cable running. This will attach into the receiver, but we're going to do that in a later video. For now, we're just going to solder the ESC onto the distribution board. So you're going to want to match the red wire to the positive terminal and the black wire to the negative, and you're just going to want to solder those to the board. And then you're going to want to make sure your solders are strong and you can give them a quick tug to check that they are. You're going to want to repeat this step for all 4 of the ESCs. So again, soldering them to the positive and negative, red being positive and black being negative. After we're done, it should look a little like this. I also went ahead and added some hot glue on top of the solders, as you can add electrical tape to these, and adding hot glue to this will reduce the risk of a short circuit. So I went ahead and just put a dab of hot glue on each solder. Next, we're going to mount our motor arms to the distribution board. Keep in mind the motor configuration again, where you need to have clockwise and counterclockwise configurations. So for my build, I want the red arms as the back of the drone and the white arms as the front of the drone. So I'm going to have a white arm with a white cap for my top left, a white arm with a black cap for my top right, a red arm with a black cap for my bottom left, and a red arm with a white cap for my bottom right. So to mount these arms to the distribution board, you're going to want to flip the entire distribution board over, and then you want to grab your arm and go from the underside of the board to attach it with screws. Now with your frame kit, you're going to get 2 sets of screws. You're going to get a set that's smaller and a set that's bigger. For this part, you're going to want to use a set of smaller screws. So you're going to want to take those screws and go from the bottom and then screw it from the top. And then you're going to want to do that for 2 screws. And then you're going to want to repeat that for all 4 arms. In the end, it should look like this with all four arms mounted. You can notice I have the white arms in the front of the drone and the red arms in the back of the drone. And you should have a little gap on the bottom of your distribution board as the distribution board is raised from the ground. In the next lecture, we'll solder our battery connector onto the distribution board and continue to build our drone.